Hello. Welcome to another episode of Freaking Out with Jay. Just kidding. Oh boy. How's everybody doing out there? Oh, goodness gracious. Ooh. This is Jay Bellums coming to you with a very important message. Seagulls have been known to carry the new disease called siglitis. Symptoms include enlarged beaks and dusty-looking feathers. So if you happen to see any seagulls, or for that matter, human beings with dusty-looking feathers, you need to call 1-800-SIGLITIS-FIX. Alright, so here I am on another Saturday night. And I'm keeping it real. Keeping it trill. It's a combination of true and real. It's trill. Keeping it trill. It's a little language education for you. Now, I bet y'all didn't know that, speaking of languages, Jay Bellums can speak French. Oh, oui, as they say. And I'm here to give you a French lesson. If you would like to order a Coca-Cola at a restaurant, I've got you covered. I know how to do that. Are you ready? Well, you're sitting at your table and your server comes over and you say, Bonjour. Je m'appelle Jay Bellums. Ça va? And that's just pretty much asking, how are you? And he says, oh, ça va bien, et toi? And you say, bien.
Wait, is bien?
Is bien French or is that Spanish? Muy bien. Fuck. See, I work with so many people who speak Spanish that Spanish is slowly invading my brain and I can't even... Is it bien? What is good in Spanish? So when I walk into work, I'm like, I see my Spanish-speaking friends, and I'm like, hola! And they're like, hola, ¿cómo estás? And what do I say? I say bien, y tú. So I guess bien. Shit. Well, so much for teaching everybody about languages. Let me ask Google. Hey, Google! 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 Hold on, let me try this one more time. Google! How do you say good in Spanish?
In Spanish, that's buena in its feminine form and bueno in its masculine form.
Oh, bueno. Bueno? Okay, I'm gonna ask Google something else. Hey, Google! Google! Okay, Google. How do you say good in French?
In French, you would say bonne in its feminine form and bon in its masculine form.
Well, I'm gonna put that on pause for a second, because there's somebody behind me, and I'm not trying to be caught on my phone while I'm driving. I know that's a big no-no here in the United States of America, so we'll come back to that. We'll come back to the language lessons. I really thought that I knew more Spanish and French than I do, but apparently not. Jay Bellums' great-grandfather apparently could speak like 10 different languages. I think they call that a polyglot, not to be confused with the Pokemon Polygon. But apparently he could speak Russian, French, some other shit. He could speak pig Latin like a motherfucker. You know, he was from Latin America, the region where there were a lot of fat people, and so his native tongue is pig Latin. You know what I'm saying? Elams Bay, Riving Day with J.A. Okay, good. That wasn't a... Well, who's behind me? Huh. Here we go. Let's see here. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. Google, who is Jay Bellams? Well, they're not quite up to date on celebrity trivia. But honestly, I think learning foreign languages is a lost art. It is so impressive, and might I say, it is so sexy when you run into, you know, somebody of the opposite sex who can speak many languages. Because normally, if you were to ask me, if you were to be like, Jay, do you find intelligence sexy? I'd be like, well, you know, no, not really. But it took me by surprise one time. I heard a young lady speak fluently in a different language, and it really got my goat. It got something going in me. I said, oh, so that's what an intelligent woman is like. Wow. But really, to be smart, to be educated, you know, all of that is going down the toilet lately in favor of TikToks and having clout, you know. It all comes down to who's got the biggest Tesla. I don't know about that. You know, honestly, can I just say I'm so glad that I don't have children. Oh, I'm so glad that I don't have a baby on the way. Because raising a child in this current state of the world, oh my goodness, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. There's so much craziness going on. My child would have to be homeschooled for sure, for sheezy. Ain't no way I'm letting my child's brain get filled with the ideas that are going on in the public school system nowadays, or the private school system for that matter. It's absolutely ridiculous. Because honestly, I think homeschooled kids are where it's at. You know, they used to get made fun of a lot. They still do. It's kind of the butt of the joke, you know. Oh, you must be homeschooled. Look at the way you walk. You look like a homeschooled kid. But honestly, being homeschooled is awesome. If any of you homeschooled listeners are out there feeling low, just keep your head up, because you guys really are the elite. You know. So, in today's episode during the day, I covered my first kiss, you know? And that was awesome. That was a good memory, you know? I would love to go back to those days where innocence is, you know, the innocent days. Where playing a game of truth or dare was, it really got you feeling tingly and crazy. Does anyone remember Truth or Dare? Those days were so fun, because you knew something naughty was gonna happen, you know? The mood when somebody suggests playing a game of Truth or Dare, everybody gets all excited, and you know some boobies are gonna come out or something eventually. You're gonna see a boob. You know, whether it's yours or somebody else's, there will be a mammary making an appearance. I'm trying to think if I have any good stories about Truth or Dare, but, you know, I don't think I do. I think I forgot them all. But I'm debating telling a story here about you know, when my friend and I lit an entire field on fire, you know, I think it's been long enough to where the statute of limitations would protect me against any legal action. So I think I'll tell the story. Buckle in, kids, because we're going to tell the story of when Jay Bellams and his friend almost caused a serious fire. Okay, so here's the setting. The year was 2005. Jay Bellams and his friend, who we'll call PP, we'll call him PP, we were a couple of pyromaniacs, and if you don't know what that means, that's somebody who's obsessed with fire, and flames, and explosives, and the reason for this is that we were teenage boys, okay, alright? Now, I think there's something special in the genetic code of boys once they hit age 13 that causes them to just be absolutely insane. Okay? And I think that is called testosterone. Because, oh my goodness, you don't want to be anywhere near a teenage boy. They are crazy people. So, me and my friend PP, for fun, we would take firecrackers and we would strap them to action figures, and we'd blow them up, and we'd melt down toys, and we would, you know, one of our favorite things to do was to make flamethrowers out of cans of hairspray. So you can tape a lighter to a can of hairspray and have the flame going, and then anytime you press the hairspray button, a jet of fire shoots out of the can. And it's actually really dangerous because many times the flame will travel backwards and travel back into the can, and it will all explode at once, and that will send hot flaming aluminum can shrapnel everywhere. And you know, I grew up on I spent my teenage years on a really quiet little forest kind of area, so there was nothing to do. We were right in that sweet spot age-wise, where we weren't drinking yet, we weren't doing drugs, but we were also too old for healthy, innocent fun. Like I said before, that teenage button got hit. So we wanted to do crazy stuff. And there was this little place we used to go to, this little food market, and it was really fun. One of my favorite memories of all time really is just walking to the food mart with PP, and it was just some good old quality time. And we'd go down there, we'd get burritos, you know, we'd talk about girls who we thought were cute. We'd talk about boys that we wanted to fight, you know, I'll beat them up. And one time we went to the food mart, and PP, I don't know how he did it, and I don't know how they thought it would be a good idea to sell it to him, but he bought a can of lighter fluid. Okay, alright. And just put yourself, you know, imagine that you're a cashier, okay? And imagine that you see two really squirrely looking teenage boys come in with craziness in their eyes. Are you going to go ahead and sell them a can of lighter fluid? Seems like a bad idea to me. But somehow they sold it to us. Okay. And this was during the summer, so it was very hot out, very dry conditions. You can see where I'm going with this. And so, you know, we did our thing. We ate some burritos. We farted around. We talked about girls. And we were walking back to Pee-Pee's house. And Pee-Pee was really rich, and he lived in this neighborhood that had a bunch of beach access. And one of the areas, there was an estuary. Now, hold on, there's a police officer right next to me, so I need to make it look like I'm not doing anything with an electronic device. I think that's frowned upon. So I'm just gonna shout. I'm gonna shout and make it look like I'm on a speakerphone. So we were walking home, and we stopped down on the beach, and we were itching to do something with that lighter fluid. Hold on, let me just make sure that popo's not following me. Any popos? No. Stupid popo. Okay. So we make our way down to the beach, and there's this thing called the estuary, and that's just kind of like a natural nature preserve. A beautiful little spot. And there's a large cement wall down at the estuary, right near the water. And Pee-Pee thinks it'd be a good idea to take the can of lighter fluid and to write his name in lighter fluid on the wall, and then ignite it so that there was a flaming scroll of his name on the wall. Now, this is where I would start to get nervous hanging out with him, because although I was crazy, Pee-Pee was extra crazy, okay? He was that friend that made you nervous. He took things too far. He was also the one I mentioned earlier in a driving with Jay, where he would harass his sister a little more than was needed. You know what I mean? Oh, here's some more popo action. Look at that! Wow! Off in the distance, there's a popo. Wonder where he's going. Huh? Well, those lights are hypnotizing. I hope I don't freaking. But Pee-Pee would make me nervous with the stuff that he would do. So I was starting to feel hesitant. I got cold feet. I said, Pee-Pee, you need to stop that. And he said, no, fuck you, I'm gonna write my name. I said, oh, you're making me nervous, Pee-Pee. He said, fuck you, Jay, you can go home if you want. I said, no, I can't miss this. And so Pee-Pee wrote his name on the wall, and he lit it on fire, and it looked pretty dang cool. But wouldn't you know it, the flames started to creep up over the edge of the wall, and they started to catch the grass on fire that was around the wall. Okay? Now, in a matter of 10 seconds, flames started to engulf about a 30-foot area of dried grass, okay? Just like that. Bam. So all of a sudden, Pee-Pee and I are standing in the middle of like a small field that is now on fire. Okay? And the flames start to spread. And now it's about a 50 to 60 foot radius field that is just on fire. And the flames at this point are taller than our heads. We were only about 2.5 feet tall each, so it wasn't that tall, but it was a really big fire. Okay? And so at this point, we start to run around. Have you ever played The Sims? If you've ever played The Sims, and The Sims house catches fire, they start to run around in circles and scream nonsensical things. And that's exactly what we were doing. We were both running around in circles. We immediately both started crying, and we were both screaming and crying and running around in circles in the middle of a gigantic field that was on fire. And whatever you're picturing, picture it more intense. Because sometimes people exaggerate these types of stories. No, you should do the opposite. What you're picturing right now probably is not intense enough. It was crazy. So we make the decision that we need to get the hell out of there. And so as we're, gathering our... we took bikes down to the field, okay? But they weren't just any bikes, they were his sister's Barbie bikes. So they were really tiny, And when we sat on them, our knees like came up to our chins. Like, it was ridiculous. They were the smallest bikes ever. But we were gathering the bikes and we were about to ride away. And cars have been passing us this whole time and they haven't done anything. They just looked at us and kept driving and been like, oh my goodness. But finally, somebody on a bike stops and he asks us what happened. And we say, oh, we don't know. We were just riding by and this field was on fire. Spontaneous combustion, I'm so sure. Isn't that believable? So he didn't believe a word of that, but he got on the phone and he called the fire department and he said, boys, you need to stay here and talk to the police. And he got on his bike and he got the fuck out of there. And as soon as we couldn't see him anymore, we followed suit and we got on our little Barbie bikes, and girl, we have never pedaled faster than we did that day. And it was a winding road, and I swear, every time we went over a curve, we could hear the fire truck behind us coming in right on the turn. And we rode all the way home, girl. And we were both crying hysterically the whole way home. And we got back to his house, and we assumed that his parents knew already. Because we got back and the parents were waiting for us at the front door. And here we come up the driveway and we're both just sobbing on little Barbie bikes. And we go up to them and we just start telling them everything and we start confessing. And we didn't even need to do that. The reason the parents were waiting for us is because we didn't take any helmets with us, and all they were gonna do was scold us for not taking helmets. But they got an earful of what we had been up to that day. We never got caught. We never got busted by the fire department. We never, nothing ever came of that. But I was grounded for the whole summer, and I wasn't allowed to hang out with him for an indefinite amount of time. They didn't even give us a time limit. They just said, you know what, you two are not allowed to hang out together until we say otherwise. So that's probably the scaredest I've ever been in terms of just getting into a situation where you're in over your head. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the story. It was a fun little adventure. Comment down below if you've got any kind of stories that you'd like to share. Okay, I love y'all. Bye bye.